Oh, there's a lot of people reacted to this. Eternity's End. Developer preview. Okay, so, what am I expecting? Now, I have... Oh. Ooh. What's up with this ratio here?
The Shadowlands story pulls together threads that started in Warcraft 3 and wove their way through many of our expansions. We approached it like a drama in 3 acts. Now, as the third and final act...
So I have watched the cutscenes on YouTube. Just so I could know, just so I could be informed about what's going on so far in the story. Well, when Shadowlands came out, I finished the Covenant campaign for Night Fae, and I finished the Covenant campaign for Necrolord, like soon after it came out. And then I stopped playing because I was like, well, this is kind of the same old shit again. So I have watched the cutscenes to see where we're at, and so I'm aware of all this stuff. Okay. There's not a lot to say about it.
Begins of the
But apparently, this has been a story that they have been carefully weaving together since the beginning since Warcraft 3. They are like trying to pull a Yoshi P on this. They're like, oh, actually, this has been a storyline that's been continuing since the beginning of the game.
We need to stop the jailer from reaching his ultimate goal, which is to rewrite the rules of reality. Eternity's End serves as the final chapter of one book of the Warcraft saga.
The final chapter in the tale of this story, right? The final chapter. Maybe not.
The jailer has the advantage. He has seized the sigils of the leaders of the Four Covenants.
He really is the most boring, bland, nothing villain that they've ever had. Like, people talk a lot of crap about Xenos, but Xenos is like such a better villain compared to this dude.
We see Sylvanas realize that she's been a pawn in the jailer's game this entire time, and she...
I mean, why didn't she figure that out beforehand? She literally spent all of her time with a dude who talks about nothing but domination, a dude who helped forge the helm of domination, and he's obsessed with domination magic, and she just had a brain fart that let her know that this guy likes dominating people. Okay.
She refuses to serve him, and she's taken prisoner.
The jailer is able to open a portal
what a twist.
to who knows where, taking Anduin with him.
Okay.
And the Primus had us take some time to retrieve some new sigils.
Now we have gathered our forces. We are working with the Primus to open our own gateway to pursue the jailer to this realm unlike any we've seen before.
Zereth, Mortis.
The Primus opens a portal, and we come into this alien land. It's completely white, foggy. We're walking on water for some reason.
They can only make out...
It's not hard to walk on water. You can use your mount on water if you... Well, they changed that, didn't they? If you rank up with the anglers. Anyway.
Some shapes, some figures there, some crazy devices and consoles.
Eventually, you make your way to a giant gate, and behind it lies Zereth Mortis.
Ouroboros.
Zereth Mortis was created by the first ones, and it is intended to create afterlives.
Think of it as being tucked away in the fabric of the Shadowlands itself. It's kind of the behind the scenes of these afterlives that we've journeyed to.
It's a place where the afterlives are created, but haven't we seen all possible afterlives so far? Or, like, why did he go there? The big issue that I've seen so far with the plot of this expansion has been, like, it's really unclear what the hell the jailer even wants to do. I saw a little bit of Preach's reaction to... I saw half of this, basically, before I had to go lay down a few days ago. And I remember Preach was like, they keep saying that the jailer wants to rewrite the laws of reality, but we don't know what that means. rewrite them how? Like, what does that actually mean? What does it mean? No one knows. I don't know.
It's the land where the progenitors, the first ones who created all of the realms of the Shadowlands, this is their workshop.
They've created everything we've experienced in Azeroth and Shadowlands and even realms we haven't discovered yet.
These first ones built the universe as far as we know, but their intentions or methods are completely unknown.
But of course, the jailer's presence here is disrupting this process. And we're working to push back against the jailer's forces and protect this place.
Okay.
I think the artists have done a fantastic job. And I know they did a lot of research and they looked at a lot of real life examples of very strange places in the real world.
As a team, we
Like
were
what?
really trying to make this place as alien as possible. So we really wanted to make everything feel completely unique and completely different.
It does just feel like very much like the Ouroboros.
Our trees here are floating. We have stones that are floating. We even have the massive
fine.
Forge of Afterlives that is floating in the center of the zone.
And
It
true
was
to its
fine.
name, it's something that is kind of putting together a new afterlife to be sent out into the Shadowlands.
We have this water.
A new afterlife. So like another zone, like the Arden Wheel. It is pretty. Yeah.
Water all around you because water is really the catalyst for any kind of creation.
It's actually unlike any other water that we've seen before.
It's
'Cause
unlike-
it's actually water that we can walk on. It almost creates like a threshold.
I'm sorry. It's water that we can walk on, so it's new. It's new water. It's different. It's different water. Okay.
Between Zereth Mortis and some other kind of more primordial space right below it. Everything
Okay.
you see in Zereth Mortis has a purpose, an intention behind it. For us, it was really important to find ways to convey that intention in the environment itself. And one of the ways in which we did it was through this duality between a lush and a dry biome. In the dry biome,
Oh, okay. So some of it's wet and some of it is dry.
we see perhaps what the original look of the zone was when the progenitors were first establishing this workspace for themselves.
Okay.
And in the lush biome, we see the result of their experimentation with plant life and fauna and things like that.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That looks cool. That's nice. I like these.
These are all
Mount probably.
test beds for what we'll eventually see elsewhere.
From there, we started thinking about what kinds of creatures would be in this place that are fundamentally prototypes. There's terraforming here. There's creatures that are building afterlives.
Okay.
We tried to really stretch and think what that might be like.
My personal favorite includes the giant armored snail, and we also have a progenitor chicken,
I don't like
which
that.
answers the question of what came first.
These
looks
first
like a
ones
robot.
who crafted Zereth Mortis, what they left behind were the automa, meant to take care of the place and make sure that it fulfilled its function to create afterlives.
The automa have several different classes, and you can see this in their silhouettes. We have the builders, we have the protectors,
Okay.
we have the casters, and each one of them have a specific role within the Shadowlands. And then you'll also discover the Jiro, which are a part of the automa. They're a little more quirky, they have a little more personality. They are a little more sentient than the other automa, so some of them even split off to pursue their own desires.
Unfortunately, when we found our way in, Devourers also found their way in. They are ravenous.
They're
Okay.
consuming this weird energy, and it's causing them to mutate and to fall apart.
And the automa, where they are confronted by them, some of them are fighting them off.
And so it's going to take some time for them
The
to
thing is, I think what's really missing here for me is it has not been really well established why the jailer would want to go to this place. Like, they are explaining to the viewer right now what this place is, and like you're gonna learn about it when you get there, but I feel like it's such a backwards way of doing things, and it's something they do often, where instead of, like in Final Fantasy, for example, there are many times where you're getting ready to go into a new area or new place, and like you hear about it, there's build up to it, and it's like it makes a lot of sense why you go where you're going at a certain point. Okay, now, I mean, this can't exactly be like that, but they did try to have something sort of like a storyline in this expansion. And I just think that without that, at least at the very least, like understanding why the person you need to follow in there is going there, or what his motivations really are. Like even a shred of information about that, I think would go a long way. Like you don't have to describe every zone before you get there. It's okay to like stumble into somewhere new and explore it and learn things about it. But there's nothing I feel really connecting where the player was with where they're going. And I feel like it's a bridge that's missing. And it's really important. Besides, oh, bad guy went there, so you go there now too, right?
Understand that we're here trying to help them drive out this threat.
Drive out the threat.
Fortunately, we've got some allies. There are some enlightened brokers here that we're going to be working with.
But it's a broker that arrived here quite a long time ago and has had a change of heart from looking at the world as a very transactional place to seeing this place as a holy place, a sacred place.
What?
We meet an enlightened one named Fareem, and Fareem needs our assistance, and in return, he leads us to Haven,
which is a hub that has been created out of progenitor ruins, and this is where the enlightened really have made their home.
Haven serves as our foothold here, as well as use it as a base of operations and really start unlocking the mysteries of this land.
Okay.
The enlightened brokers are intent on protecting and preserving the work of the first ones here, but now they're seeing Zoval bring his forces against the Atoma and tear up the land, and they are eager for assistance.
The brokers themselves are very ostentatious, they're very into materialism, but the enlightened are not that at all. They have relinquished this material way, and you'll see this reflected in their clothes.
So that's pretty crazy that this whole like type of being is completely changed. All of them have all arrived here and completely changed their outlook on life because of something truly magnificent and wondrous that they've discovered just from being here. Now, I wonder if in the course of the story, the player will also see what this thing was that would cause such a massive and instantaneous shift in these people. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
They're a little faded.
Oh my God. What if the jailer gets there and he's like, has this enlightenment too, and he's like, wow, now that I've seen behind the veil, like I see that this is a holy place actually.
This isn't important to them anymore. They're just here for the pursuit of knowledge.
Okay.
When players arrive, they're kind of fishes out of water. And one of the first things that we have to do is start learning how
to... that's your fault because we're walking on the water. We can't get in the water.
communicate with the Automa. Think of it as a kind of runic language based in symbols.
We will bond with a small construct who's pretty cute, actually. And with his assistance and the assistance of Fareem, we will learn eventually how to understand the symbols through the cipher of the first ones.
We'll uncover different parts of this alphabet and start to learn more about the progenitors and Zereth Mortis itself.
It will allow you to unlock new and
real
different
alphabet?
forms of content. So that can range from daily quests to new options on the vendors to places to explore and new side quests that open up. So it's really the gateway to exploring the far reaches of Zereth Mortis.
As we looked into the development of Cipher of the first ones, we wanted something that was unique that players haven't seen before. A little bit of familiarity, but something that takes that to the next level.
We really involved the whole team in this creative
process.
So
like, would you be able to learn this language and read words?
I team to be able to represent those through text, through these things talking and seeing them on screen in chat bubbles and in our chat window. Little by little, these kind of runes start taking shape into words that we recognize. But it's going to be a process that unfolds.
Oh no, it's probably hidden. It's probably just random runes. And the more that you skill up, then the more words you can read. It's probably like that. Yeah. You don't have to write as many quests, actually. If you just put a bunch of like nonsense hieroglyphs on the quest text, you don't have to write as much. You can just let them learn it because I guess you can't go back and like read the quest again after you've done the quest and then it doesn't matter.
Over the course of playing through Eternity's End.
Okay.
The Automa speak in this kind of musical language. They don't talk the way that we mortals are used to speaking.
Okay.
The sound team was super excited. They jumped in, they started prototyping all kinds of different sounds. We listened, we gave feedback. And we really ended up in a cool place.
They sound cool. They sound cool.
As you're playing through and gradually unlocking the language, you'll be able to see those words that they're saying, but still hear those tones.
God, it's actually kind of grating on the ears. Some of these are just like, rah. It's like nails on a
The jailer's
chalkboard now.
true goal has never really been to escape the maw or to gain power. He's been focused
Okay. It's never been to gain power. Okay, what is it then? We're about to find out.
on reaching this place called the sepulcher, to go into this place of power and to really rewrite the rules of the universe.
That's been his goal the whole time. We're finding out from a developer preview of a new zone. They keep doing this. This is something that I think is one of the most frustrating things with this game, is that instead of letting you know the details of the story, like just a little bit that you would need to keep yourself interested in the progression of events, they're always like, oh, well, you don't know their true motive, but you will in the next patch that you gotta sub and play the next patch. Oh, like, it's such a crazy thing that she just did, but she has reasons, we promise. And you'll know if you just play the next patch and the next zone. It's always that, the next one and the next one and the next one. It's so frustrating.
We'll learn that the jailer has breached the sepulcher of the first ones, and this becomes our new raid for Eternity's End. We're going to gather our forces. We're going to pursue the jailer inside. Once you go inside the sepulcher, there's some mind-blowing visuals. This is a place that should not be able to exist.
Like, wouldn't Sylvanas know, at least? Wouldn't she know what he wanted the whole time? Because that's the only thing that would make her following him make any sense at all, is if she knew that he had some other kind of motive that wasn't related to power, that wasn't related to domination, that was rewriting the... I thought that's what she was on board for. Rewriting the laws of the afterlife so that everyone would really, truly be free. Like, that's what I thought she would... But apparently she didn't know about this. Like, she didn't know about this stuff. And it's all about, like...
according to the laws of physics as we know them on Azeroth, just looking out into this impossible sky of seeing these ancient works of the first ones, those laws don't apply to anything we see here.
Among the bosses that we're going to face in Sepulcher of the first ones include...
She does, and she tries to tell us at the end of the last cutscene, when she's like, I saw this cutscene on YouTube, and she's like, don't let him reach the... Like, she was probably trying to say, don't let him reach the sepulcher. So she knew that he wanted to go there. But does she know why? It's crazy to me that it was such a big shock to her that the domination magic guy wanted to dominate people.
The jailer's forces, maybe a dreadlord or two that you haven't tied up loose ends with, will face a consular. This is similar to a being like Algalon, but the jailer's gotten to it and has infused his domination magic into the consular.
It's the domination magic.
Before we get to the jailer,
It's
however,
the corruption.
we need to get to Anduin first.
Oh, they got
Our
the
hope is that
corruption.
we can learn
Oh,
whatever
he's got the corruption too.
Anduin knows
no.
about domination magic.
Oh,
we need to be able to resist it, or better yet, fight it.
In World of Warcraft, usually the only reason that people do any bad thing is because they had the corruption at the time. And so it's not really their fault, but they got a little bit of the corruption. And there's so many different ways you can get corruption. Now you got domination magic corruption, you can have fel magic corruption, you can have arcane corruption, you can have pretty much any kind of magic that there is. Void corruption. You can get corrupted by it, and then you're going to do bad things. So
we know players have been waiting a long time for the return of tier sets, and as devs, we have too.
It's a great blend of progenitor magic, golds, and metals, along with those class-defining silhouettes. Wolves for shamans, pointy things for rogues.
pointy teeth.
It's going to look amazing.
Our class and combat team was super excited to bring class sets back. This is something that felt really right for the story. We're in the final act of the Shadowlands saga. We're here literally on the brink at Eternity's End. The story. We're in the final...
Wait. Wait a minute, dude.
Act of the Shadowlands saga. We're here literally on the brink at eternity's end.
Okay.
And what better place to fully unleash the power of these classes? And I think players will really enjoy the return of those class sets just as much as
They
the
don't
team
look
enjoyed
like
making them.
that class.
How do you make something that is mystical and magical?
They all look
and
kind of
incomprehensible?
samey. That's my only, like, besides this goofy skull, I guess it's Death Knight.
Sets just as much as the
Okay.
team enjoyed making them.
How do you make something that is mystical and magical and incomprehensible and yet understandable? I think we've done a good job of finding that line.
The team as a whole has been working so hard, and we are so
mean-
excited to get this out for everyone.
We're gonna get new mounts, new pets.
A bit horrifying for me, but exciting for
There's
some
some-
is the fact that, some of the spider mounts can now
There's some
fly. Who needs flying
stuff
spiders?
in
But
it.
that's also going to be a cool thing for people.
We have updates to professions, to soulbinds, to conduits. There's a new dancing minigame in Dark Moon
They
Fair.
finally
I'm a
added.
story guy, so I'm super
the
geeked
dance
about watching
floor.
players kind of piece together
Wow.
those little lore tidbits. That's what
They
excites me
really
as
are desperate at this point. They actually finally gave the dance studio. Holy crap.
well.
I'm really looking
Wow.
forward to season 3 of Mythic
I
Plus.
thought I'd never see it.
Tazavesh is getting split into 2 dungeons. If you're a raider, if you chase Keystone Master,
Okay.
if you're an achievement collector, there's something for everyone to do in this.
Shadowlands is like the final chapter of one book of the Warcraft saga, and our team is already hard at work on the next stories to come. Can't talk about them quite yet, but when the time is right, we're going to be really excited to share them with you.
The final chapter of one book of the Warcraft. But there's a lot of books. There's other books that you have to read to understand what happened in this book. Like, okay. Well, I'm afraid. Let's talk. Like, the good things here are, like, this little guy's, that's cool. Like, the sound effects are cool. I think the glyph system is pretty cool. But, like, in every other way, it's just more of the same, where we have a really frustrating story that isn't built up in any way. We have a grindy zone where it's just like dailies, and they did bring back the tier sets, but for me, they don't really look like tier sets to me. They just, that looks good, but they don't really look like. Is there let's see. Let me turn the music back on here. Let me see. Oh, here it is. Okay, so from the tier sets, we have Shaman, Rogue. Can I make it bigger? Yeah. Rogue looks good. Mug. Death Knight. Death Knight is... Oh my god, it is Death Knight. What the hell, man? It looks so bad. Wait. What is this? What is this little skull? It's so small. Holy shit. This is Druid. It just looks like clouds and stuff, like insulation popping out. Priest, it looks, the sets overall look like priest sets. It looks like everybody got forced into a priest set. Hunter is bad. Warrior is super bad. It's terrible. Demon Hunter, the Warglaives are pretty cool. What is this? Mage? Oof. It looks like level 40 gear. This looks really good. Warlock. I think that's the best looking one. Paladin, I think looks decent. So I think the Warlock is the best looking one, which is funny because this doesn't look like a Warlock set at all. This is so like them too. This is such a compromise. It's so like them to do this because they didn't want to make tier sets for Shadowlands. They didn't want to do that. And The players begged and cried and kicked and screamed and begged for the tier sets back. Please give us class sets back. And they're like, okay, we'll give you your class sets back. And they made them all look like they had wanted to make it look originally for the Shadowlands idea of the Shadowlands tier that they wanted before. This is it's such a compromise, I feel. Well, no, I'm afraid, no, I don't think I'm enticed enough to be returning to World of Warcraft from this developer preview. I think a lot more is gonna have to change for me to care again, for me to be excited and hyped again. I actually posted on Twitter, it was before I got the Rona, I posted, it was a screenshot that I had put on social media years ago before I started playing Final Fantasy 14. It was from a BlizzCon that happened like around this time, and I think it was 2014, I want to say, 2013 or 2014. It was right before Warlords of Draenor, and that was the last time I was really excited about WoW. I was really, really hyped. And like they had taken a misstep here and there, but mostly everybody felt like, oh, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be like the return to force for this game. Warlords of Draenor, there's orcs. It's like very Warcrafty, like classic Warcrafty vibes. Yeah, the time stuff doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it doesn't matter because this is gonna be great. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have player housing, and yeah. Little did I know. Little did I know. Yeah. That would be the expansion in which I left